I hit a button without even realizing it, and now we're live.
Are we live?
Yes, and
Bless you.
sniffling.
Yes.
I was not.
Okay, good. Also, hammers. It looks like it is Thursday, Saurus.
Mine's over there.
No,
Mine's
go
over
get
there.
it.
I don't want to.
Go get the hammer. It's Thursday. This is hammered out. What is hammered out without the hammer? Go get the hammer.
Okay, fine. It's currently with real Saurus, though.
Oh. Well, real Saurus can hold on to it. Fake Saurus is the one hosting Hammered Out today, so that's fine.
Okay.
Anyway,
well,
Hammered Out.
Well, I'm glad to know that we're
Happy
here.
Thursday, you crazy people. What's going on?
How's it going, everybody? Today was... I didn't want the stream to start as abruptly as it did, but apparently switching from studio mode put us here, so now we're here. It's cool. It's fine. It's fine.
Did you ruin the thing?
I ruined the music. It's all my fault.
So there's no music.
There's no music.
We're not sitting here talking with that sweet, silky, smooth background.
I mean,
music.
So that I can do. Like, boom, there we go. Now we got that music in the background. We're good. That like the do
yeah, or whatever it is that it is.
Yeah, no, that's back there now. I just turned it on.
Oh, okay.
I had completely forgotten to
now.
do that.
You had completely forgotten. Oh.
Jack and Quill says no music. Left stream.
All right. The stream is already on fire. Is the chat doesn't seem to be working again?
Nope. Because of course it doesn't.
Saurus.
Why would
fix yonder chat?
Okay, fine.
Why
there it goes.
Oh God! Oh
there
Lord,
it
have
go.
mercy upon my soul. It is all there at once.
1, 2, 3. Many
There's
people.
so much fire. Please burn. Sacrifice some ram sticks on our behalf so that we can actually get the chat working at the top of the show.
Just gonna burn that right there.
And there it goes. Oh. Into the
I'm not going to be able to do this joke for very much longer because these are actually going in a machine.
Are you going to ram it in there?
It's a machine with 8 gigs of RAM, but they're all 2 gig sticks. These are frickin' 4 gig sticks. I can just shove these in there and just be like, nope. Dual channel, motherfucker.
There isn't a RAM stick emoji, but there is an actual RAM emoji that now people are using in the chat to set on fire.
Sacrifice it.
Burn it. We have run out of ram sticks, so we must now do with animal sacrifice. Good times, y'all.
Gigi is on the air vents of my PC tower. Because of course she is.
See, Calcifer is a well-mannered cat and is sleeping back there on a blanket.
I will show you. Gigi.
Okay, let's see this.
Oh, I can't because of the... Aha!
And there it goes.
Must move that.
We're going to get the blue screen of death here in about 5 seconds.
Hello, Gigi.
That is a bottle of Windex. That's not Gigi.
I mean, Gigi is right here.
Oh, well, there's the cat.
On top of my tower, we're at the air intake because of course.
Yeah, because it's got the fans.
Yeah, feels good to her.
You're scratching Gigi's neck, and I'm like, I got itches.
She's a good girl.
Well,
good cat.
We're here for everyone who's not here to watch cats. I'm sorry. The stream is now about cats.
The stream is officially about cats. Yes. Sirs, why are you looking at 10 easy steps to destroy civilization? Because
we are here to discuss Peter Bogosian, or as I call him, Bogo the Clown.
Bogo the Clown.
I told Saurus I have a special name for him. Yes, Bogo the Clown. He is the founder of street epistemology, and he's been saying he's had some spicy hot meatballs of a takes.
Some hot takes
on the Twitters lately, saying if you have pronouns in your bio, you're a rage-filled person.
So what's funny about that? I didn't have pronouns in my bio for the longest time, to spite the people that tried to say shit like that.
I added them. Go ahead.
Check my Twitter, Ocean. Just go ahead and check my Twitter.
Oh no, what am I doing?
Just check it.
I'm on Bogosian's Twitter right now, but I guess I'll happily leave that.
You can always hit the Control-click button and that actually will give you another tab.
What? Surus. You know who else is on my search list right now is Stephen Hassan, because of his spicy hot meatball of a take as well.
His we'll just go ahead and call them the Rowling Diaries.
So it says pronouns in bio to elicit ad homs, and he him is the first thing, not the last thing that is in your bio. Surus.
Because that's exactly what it does.
No, there we go. I wound up adding it to my adding he him to my profile simply because Bogosian went off on this the first time, like before the most recent one that everybody's been talking about that's been arguably inspired by the J.K. Rowling thing. But pre-J.K. Rowling turfiness, whatever, Bogosian made this kind of post where he was something along the lines of, if you have pronouns in bios, you're
the real fascist.
Right. Now,
that kind of stupidness.
Yeah. Don't put your pronouns in the bio, especially if your avatar is of a shoe. Like,
Which is weird, because, like, I've seen... There's a take, Callan responded to a take I made, where somebody was like, I mean, you'd think we'd be able to figure out, just by looking at you. And I was like, have you considered the humble profile picture? What does an inanimate object's gender look like?
Right. Yeah. It's like so many people, like, this is Twitter. So many people's fucking profile pictures, like mine is of a body of water, quite literally. And, can you tell? Kind of. Hell,
mine is
you can see the water beard.
Mine is the picture that Jack the Vulture made, which is of a Rule 63 cat girl, Surus.
That's true. You are. It's honestly, I'm gender confused looking at your profile right now because you have masculine Surus in your your banner, but then you have cat girl Surus in your profile picture. So honestly, the pronouns are helpful. But yeah, if your profile picture is like of a mop, pronouns in bio are going to be helpful at the end of the day. Like I've had a couple of times on Twitter where I've been confused and I was like, damn it, if they just put fucking pronouns in their bio, I'd be able to just check.
Oh, by the way, speaking of pictures that people use for various things, I have both of my monitors now, which means Hammered Out on my new PC can officially actually have fan art put into the episode as usual.
Fan art is now being accepted for Hammered Out. Look out.
And there's a space right up here that fan art can and will go, because
be fucking careful.
There was a time where we did not have screen real estate for it. I fixed that, and then shortly after fixing that, for some reason, new computer just didn't have the right stuff. So yeah. So now it's all fixed.
I see Jack and Quill in the chat, laughing maniacally.
Thank you very much for the $5, Matthew Valent. Thoughts on the video? 98% human from PETA. I actually haven't seen that video, so
that sounds spicy though.
I can't give my thoughts on something that I haven't seen yet. But
we might have to have the cat conversation.
I have a wonderful cat right here. One of 5. Oh, by the way,
have you heard the cat conversation with respect to veganism?
The obligate carnivore one?
Like, is it moral to own a cat?
Because owning a cat necessitates having to buy meat.
Yes. There's 3 answers that I've seen from vegans. 3.
I can give you the correct answer.
What's the correct answer?
The correct answer is that humans are obligate omnivores.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we have the ability to supplement past that, some people actually cannot digest plant protein. Therefore, buying something for your own survival is not an immoral act. Making an animal suffer, I view as an immoral act. But
okay, so that's not the correct answer. The correct answer is you can't own a cat.
Okay, no, that's dumb.
So here's the 3 justifications. One is yes, there is vegan diets for cats, which that's just wrong. The other one is yes, you should buy meat for your cat. Because you're not buying meat for yourself and you have responsibility to the cat. That's the position.
But what if you eat the cat food?
if you buy the cat food for your consumption, it's wrong.
But no, you intend to buy the cat food for your cat's consumption, and then post hoc, you decide, I want to see what this tastes like, and then you try. Are you now a moral monster?
Ask Cosmic Skeptic. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that I will get freaking. What is it? You know what? I will get sophism. So no.
here's the other answer. First, the third answer, which I think is the most vegan of the answers, is you cannot buying meat for your cat contributes to the factory farming system and is therefore promotes suffering, and is therefore bad. So therefore, you should not buy the meat. Now that means also that you should not own a cat, but the real problem with owning a cat is not buying meat for it, but it's a violation of the cat's rights with respect to consent to live in your living space. You did not, when you purchased a cat, you did not get the cat's consent to.
Well, it is wonderful that
buy
I did not
this living creature and violate its rights and move it into your house against its own fucking will.
Well,
so
it's wonderful that I actually did not purchase any cat that we've had at all.
No, you just kidnapped one from nature.
The cat that came to my doorstep begging to come into my house and has refused to leave. Gigi has escaped multiple times, and every time she escapes...
See? He uses the word.
Every
escaped.
single time she escapes, when we come
Gigi
home...
is a prisoner in Cirrus's house.
She literally is sitting in front of the door looking at us going, human, it's time to let me in. I've had my fun. What the fuck are you doing? And begs to be let back inside. Yumi would have died had we not actually brought her in, and you know the story behind that, because we actually had to get her a shot for necrosis in her womb because she was pregnant when we got her. The mother of Terror and Baba actually left both of them on our doorstep and abandoned them. So the more moral decision, according to someone from PETA, would be to abandon them to let them die on our porch.
Yes.
On the second-story balcony where it was impossible for them to get food.
Liberty involves death, Cirrus.
Yeah, I did my debate with Michael. I understand that.
That's what PETA is. They're ultimately animal libertarians.
I find that position morally repugnant. So yeah, no. And then, of course...
I think that PETA once did I recall something like this, where they represented rats that were being exterminated, and they said that it was like an unlawful eviction, and they were violating the rights of the rats. And this is one of those things where it's like, it's really interesting to me when you get into like vegans that are like hardcore animal rights, where somebody like, say, Cosmic Skeptic would stand on an issue like that, where it comes to extermination of rats, which are animals, which have rights, which are, extermination and definitely involves suffering, where, it seems like a ridiculous argument, but it does fall under a lot of the premises that are used by Cosmic Skeptic for his conclusions. So where do where are those lines? But anyway, before getting into a giant debate on veganism, because that's like a genuine curiosity for me. I don't know where he would stand on that. But I'm a little entertained that I don't know where he would stand on that. But anywho, now that we've pissed off all the vegans in the chat,
my position on veganism is this: if you personally want to be a vegan, there's nothing wrong with that. By all means,
that's largely
do it.
My position too.
I don't have a problem with anybody being vegan, and I'm sure there's going to be somebody who watches Philosophy Tube who's going to be like, aha, Cirrus is ya dad for veganism. No, that's not my position.
What?
You haven't? Okay,
I don't know what this reference is.
There's a video from Philosophy Tube about transphobia, and it shows the different varying levels of transphobia. One of the, up at the top, you've got the whole like, they aren't people, euthanize them. That like
Jesus. Okay.
Like okay,
right.
Yeah, this is a Nazi thing. But then you have down to your dad, which is the lowest level of transphobic, but still is, where they go, they can be whatever they want. I don't mind whatever they want to be. That's perfectly fine. It implies Like, it sounds reasonable, and then you realize it implies that trans people want to be something as opposed to just are something, which creates its own...
But veganism is a moral position that is preferential.
Veganism is a moral position is preferential, but the language that I'm using sounds like what the Yadad position was.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I would say that's the distinction at the end of the day, that it's a preferential moral position.
Like, if you want to buy something at my position is twofold. One, the actual position of veganism is fine. The actual position of fucking carnivorism is
You're going to have to add veganism to the title of this video now. We're pretty exhaustively going through it.
But my other side of this
someone has sent in a super chat that mentioned veganism, and we wound up, what is this, 30 minutes in?
My other side of this is...
Bogosian is on the screen, guys, and here we are discussing veganism in depth.
Well, I have a leftist take on this as well. If you want me to bring up the bread.
You've gone into that.
There is no ethical consumption under capitalism.
Cirrus has... There you go. Cirrus has so many opinions on veganism that wind up coming at about 30,000 angles, and I'm just sitting here like, okay, I get the factory farming argument. I understand cosmic skeptics like objective morality argument, and it's valid, but it also has consequences. And but then Cirrus is over here like, there's no ethical consumption under communism, and any for-profit farming of plant material is going to result in suffering de facto. It's just like, okay, all right, dude. All right. But Cirrus, is veganism a sandwich?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
It can be many different types of sandwiches. Oh, by the way, so we've gotten like 3 super chats to watch a particular video. I think we're kind of obligated to do it at this point.
What is this? Is it the? Are we going to do the veganism video?
It's the one that I just linked to you. It's called 98% Human from PETA.
Okay, so more super chats are saying we need to watch this video.
Yes. There have been a few.
We don't domesticate cats. They domesticate us. This is valid.
That is actually true. It just because,
like... I think cats condition our behavior. I know Calcifer does this. He determines my wake-up time.
Consider the fact that if your cat pees somewhere in your house, the correct thing is not to teach the cat not to pee there. The correct thing is to get a new litter. No, not just clean up after it, but get a new litter box and put it in the location that the cat is conditioned to pee in. That is the recommended way to potty train your cat, which means your cat was already potty trained. It just said, "This is my spot now."
And that might be in the middle of the living room.
Which is why we have 6 litter boxes in this house.
Oh my god! All right.
We have 5 cats. You're supposed to have.
That's right. You're supposed to have one for each one. Right. Oh, okay. I see what's going on.
Yeah.
We have Calcifer's got his spot. But yeah. All right.
Okay.
So there's this video that is interrupting our making fun of Bogosian, which I had all kinds of jokes. I had jokes, Cirrus.
You had jokes?
I had jokes.
Well,
but
I'm sure we'll be able to make fun of this too. I've sent the video to you. I'm lining it up with the chat right now.
I'm going to watch this on my own.
I'll let you know when we start.
Pull this up here.
There we go.
I have Peter Bogosian up right now.
Ah, no. Frickin'. All right, I've got Ken Ham up on screen. We're ready.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
I'm watching it now.
The Great Ape. He's been forced to perform on television and in motion pictures for decades.
The CGI on this is awful.
Right.
Stolen from his mother at birth. Beaten and abused behind the scenes.
Well, that was a thing.
He'll end up discarded in a roadside zoo. Could you live this life?
Well, that was dark.
Yeah, dark as fuck, man.
Yeah. So the answer to could I live that life is there's a couple things here. One, the 98% human argument is a category error. The issue is not how close genetically are monkeys to humans. The answer is how close are they to sapience and self-awareness, which is the actual category we use for humanity. That's the thing that distinguishes us from other animals is sapience. That's the actual category. The other thing is, if the argument is going to be just against animal cruelty, fine. Like, obviously, PETA has shown that through incredibly poor CGI rendering, you can actually create a monkey instead of having to harvest one for this. So I would agree.
For performances?
Yeah, just do that.
This is the, let's say, used by the entertainment industry. I see that. Yeah, and this was like the whole thing with, like, there was I mean, CGI. Planet of the Apes made this argument, I think, better than this video did.
Poseidrus, all apes are monkeys. Nested hierarchies. Monkey is a colloquialism. Next.
All apes. Yeah, that's right.
Like...
But yeah, so.
Also, if I would like to say a couple of things. One, if the message that they're trying to put out is like, this would drive you to suicide, well, PETA, I could understand that argument. But you take that option away from animals all the time by just killing them yourselves, so...
That is true. It's like, doesn't there like a whole bit with PETA? Like, PETA does a lot of like the tear-jerking guilt game, but they also
operate some of the most kill shelters.
Right. Like, it's they take people's pets, honestly. It's like your cat ran away. Well, I hope PETA didn't get it,
Yeah.
Because then they take it to a kill shelter, and then I don't know what their wait time is, but
so it's awkward that like they try to pull that particular emotional string when it's terribly inconsistent with their actual like central motif of what they do.
Right.
So,
and just like your actions speak louder than your emotional jerking video, right? Because like can we agree that there's abuse in the entertainment industry of animals? Yeah.
Yeah, there's abuse of humans as well. Both of them need to be stopped. Okay.
Abuse of animals. But yeah, there's abuse of humans as well. Yes, you're right. So yeah, like I can agree on that note. And I think there's already a lot of regulation on what you can do, at least in film. Like there's union rules about how animals are to be treated and that kind of thing. I've been on shoots with animals on set before. Never a great ape, but cats and dogs definitely. Set cats are weird. If you have a scene that involves a cat, it's gonna be the only shot you're getting that day, because cats just, as we stated earlier, they operate in their own damn time. They're gonna be there. They're gonna look at the camera whenever they damn well choose. It might not be the shot that you want. I've been on multiple sets with fucking cats on it, and there's just like, all right, so we have a cat.
Speaking of cats, you should definitely follow GG on Twitter.
Scenes with a cat and a child. You're not doing anything else that day.
So Hans actually brings up a wonderful argument. So through PETA's framework, domesticated animals should not exist. So the answer to fix the domesticated animal, it's like, okay, so this is going to sound really weird, but this is actually an apt comparison. Do you know those
people? This is the veganism
who
episode now.
Do you know those people that are so horribly against immigration that they would willingly kill the people who have already set foot in their country just because they happen to be the skin color they don't like?
Yeah.
That's what PETA is towards domestic animals. They don't believe domesticated animals should exist, so when they capture domesticated animals, they then kill them because putting them in another home would be immoral in their framework. So the only option they have is to kill them, just like the only option you would have in the United States would be to either kill or imprison, but imprisonment means we're paying with them for tax dollars. Deportation means paying for that with our tax dollars. So the only option you end up having left in many cases is murder. So in PETA's case, dogs can't and shouldn't exist because canine familiaris is domesticated. That is how it became canine familiaris. They have to kill all dogs.
Good luck, everybody.
The PETA imperative has to be kill all dogs. Like,
so the audience determined the direction of this episode today.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about PETA.
This is going to be a segmented episode.
It's going to be segmented.
It's Canis familiaris. I'm sorry. I'm sure somebody who actually speaks the dead language is mad at me now. I'm kidding.
All right. With the number of pagans that are in your chat, Cirrus, there are like probably 4 or 5 people that speak Latin fluently.
Well, they couldn't speak it fluently, like literally. Dead languages don't work that way.
Well, yeah, that's true, but they can sound it all out phonetically pretty quickly. Anyway,
on to the topic at hand.
On to the topic at hand. I think that
Bogosian.
we've pretty much talked about this about as far as we can go. But you know, I'll say, like, usually a reasonable veganism is usually I'm in opposition to the factory farming industry, and that makes a ton of fucking sense.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get people that are like, kill your pets.
Like I will close on the factory farming position, because when you consider the factory farming position, saying that this is unethical, you should find different ways to get your meat, that is fair, and I would agree with that if factory farmed meat, as unethical as it is to get, was not also the cheapest form of meat, because then you end up fucking over anybody who needs protein who happens to be in poverty.
Right.
Congratulations.
No ethical consumption or capitalism.
Leave it to the leftist.
Argument, right. That's an argument that I haven't seen vegans like Cosmic Skeptic deal with. That I'd be interested in seeing him deal with. He may have, and I'm just not aware of it. But I haven't seen that argument yet.
Like a lot of times, our food is constrained by means, and if you don't have the means, then you end up with Well, anyway,
Bogosian.
So,
the clown.
He put up a lovely list called 10 Ways to Destroy Civilization, or How to Destroy Civilization in 10 Easy Steps. Now, this is not all of these are bad, and all of them are only yikesy depending on the framework you're starting out from, like your a priori. So, depending on what his a priori is, some of these might not actually be yikesy, but we're going to explore what they look like in either case.
Still loading for me.
Still, how is Twitter taking so long to load for you? Is their netcode that bad, or is yours that bad?
It's yes. I got it. So, yeah, he says claims science, reason, and rationality are tools of oppression.
So, depending on your framework, we're going to look at this from 2 separate sides. On one side, when somebody
religion
says
is false, sir, as creationism is true.
Okay.
Or not science, reason, and rationality.
Religion is false, creationism is true.
False.
As it turns out, all religions are false and creationism is true. Now, how did I actually get to this? You may wonder.
Well,
you may be asking, Ray Comfort, how did he get to this position? Well, that's because Christianity is not a religion. It's a relationship. We got there. We did it.
Yep, we got there. We made it work.
So why is it?
My slip up was actually accurate by some terms of Christianity.
We did it, guys.
What I was going to say is basically like, look, science and reason are definitely tools of oppression. Creationism is true.
So,
and
we just stepped through there. We just stepped right through that portal.
We stepped right through it, and while we're sitting there, and there's a banana.
I'm getting very upset. Religion is a hot dog. And hot dogs are sandwiches. So, here we are. No,
there are so many fucking show memes on this stuff that if you haven't been watching all of Hammered Out, that you're not going to get many of them, and I'm sorry for that. But that my upset, the fact that you're upset about that is a sandwich.
It's true.
So, anyway, what do you think
as a synapse, it exists between your head meats and therefore is a sandwich.
Oh my god.
So from one frame, if we do
no one needed a justification.
If we do the charitable well, that's the thing about sandwich absurdism. Is
Yeah.
I've thought out every one of those fucking things.
Let's be charitable to the guy we're calling Bogo the Clown.
The charitable interpretation would be to look at this from the side of the creationist, where they say that the creationists would say that the current model of science is oppressive because that current model is against their religion. That would be the charitable interpretation to look at this through.
That's
However,
not what he means, though.
there is another interpretation that we need to look at as well, which is less charitable, and that is basically arguing for biological essentialism for trans folk. That's the yikesy version of that. And given the other things that he talks about in this list, I'm inclined to believe that might actually be the position. But yeah. So when you say like science, reason, and rationality, well, science, they're probably talking about biology at that point. Reason and rationality, probably talking about our intuition. And at that point, well, if you intuitively believe that trans men are women, then you are likely to oppress them. So that's no bad.
I think that what he's winding up with, because if I know Bogosian's positions, because he thinks that one of the things that he thought that street epistemology could be utilized for was fighting leftists. And I say thought like in past tense because that's what he thinks. He thinks that it can be used to fight leftists, and one of them is about science versus transgender identity. There's a lot of street epistemologists that are in that movement now that have that conversation structured that way.
I also want to point out. So if you're a fan of street epistemology in the chat, may I go ahead and give you a hot take? Street epistemology is garbage because all it is weaponized Socratic method.
Well, yeah,
that's all it is.
It's like Socratic method with manipulation tactics,
and therefore, and also, it is ironically, if you are a street epistemologist, the one thing you probably aren't doing is analyzing your own epistemology, which is about your personal theory of truth. Which it's all about accusing other people of not coming to the right conclusions. Which,
it puts you as judge and jury on the other person.
Like if you want to,
like that's how the conversation gets structured. It's got sales tools in it, and then it winds up with positioning you as judge and jury on the other person, even though you don't like emphatically say anything like that. It winds
like
up
if you're a fan of the method, like just the conversational method, and maybe that conversational method got you out of a terrible religion. Chances are it was not the sales tactic options that got you out. It was the actual Socratic method, which the Socratic method itself is a useful tool. SE is just the Socratic method with a blade, which not a fan of that.
It's with the Socratic method with scissors behind its back with a big smile on its face.
It's fucking Fred from Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I don't get that.
You've never seen? Oh my God, Ocean.
No. Okay. Anyway, his thing was like if there was I saw a video from one of the street epistemologists. I think his name is Cordial Curiosity. He had a video where it was like, I have a series of claims up here, and it was all things that you could tell he disagreed with.
Gaynor knows what I'm talking about.
It was like here's God, here's there's, and then one of them was there are more than two genders or something like that. And the person picked it, and the ensuing conversation was very interesting to watch. There's also a Magda Bosco video on this, where tell me, I want to check with you actually, Cyrus, whether or not my dog whistling radar is malfunctioning.
Okay.
In Magda Bosco's videos, he's got the little subject of the video down in the bottom where it's like theology or religion, is God reasonable kind of stuff. And on those videos, he has transgenderism. Okay, all right. So my dog whistle radar is not
Whenever you call it transgenderism, you lump it with every other ism, which puts it in the category not unlike religion, which automatically, to the street epistemologist, to that mindset, automatically puts it in the otherized category. Like this is the thing to fight against.
Okay. That's where my mind was, and that's why I wanted to test it out on you, without poisoning the well. But they're. It was just a particular choice of word that he put there. I was like, that's interesting. I wonder why you did that. But yeah, I got the othering.
Remember, it's not being transphobic. It's just being gender critical.
Moving on. So
yeah, that's fucking dumbass arguments.
So yeah, and that's what Bogosian is usually kind of pointing at when it comes to science and rationality being tools of oppression. Is this he believes that, you know, conversations about gender identity rooted in social sciences call biology the oppressor.
It's because so the problem though, we're going to play fallacy bingo today, boys. There's this thing called a category error. Biology being used to talk about social implications alone,
we'll talk about this for hours,
is a category error. It's also a bit of a scope error, because there actually is an extent to which biology factors into these conversations, but it is outside of its actual scope. But hardline-wise, it is a category error. Our ideas of what constitutes gender have been different from society to society, and even a person's individualized ideas of what constitutes gender is going to be completely different compared to somebody else's. If I ask one person, hey, what do you think makes someone a woman? And they say, oh, a penis and balls. And so I show them a woman with penis and balls, and they say, oh yeah, I'm straight, and I'm really attracted to this woman, and, you know, I would... Let's just go, like, they go full misogynist. They're just like, I would want to bang them right now. And then you point out that, just so you know, this person actually has a penis and balls. It could either be because they're a hermaphrodite. It could be because they actually have, they're pre-op in the bottom area. They might not even be pre-op in the bottom area. They just might have no want to get that operation in the first place. But in each of these categories, whether they're a type of intersex or they are trans or whatever, you have someone who ostensibly identifies as a woman, who looks like a woman, who they identify as a woman, who doesn't fit their actual definition of a woman, but they're straight and only attracted to women. You can really confuse somebody's idea of what is or isn't a woman doing this. And usually somebody will throw the term trap out in there as a result of that. And that's... I'm torn on whether or not I consider that a slur, because on the one hand, it is like an anime culture thing. On the other hand, there are like 44 states where you can actually, like, straight out say that you found a trap and you killed them, and you can... It's called trans panic. So like there's the side of me that thinks intent kind of matters in that particular section. I think Callan says it best there. It's a slur in most contexts. In most contexts, when you say trap, that is in fact, especially given the proclivity for it in the United States, it is a slur. There's some small segments of either fetishizing or the anime community, which it might not be considered that in that context, but they're very few and far between. Point is, the idea of what an individual person... you can get somebody to goalpost shift within a conversation about what they consider a woman or what they consider a man, which means that even society's ideas of what makes somebody a woman or makes somebody a man, all the way down to an individual level, is constantly shifting, which puts it outside of the category of biology. And even when you get somebody to argue...
It's a social science thing.
Even when you try to get somebody to argue the category of biology only, you can easily bring in... This person is XXY. This person is intersex. This person has Klinefelters. This person has so on and so forth. To the point where you get them to goalpost shift enough where you go, well, what the fuck do you think a person actually is? Or are you willing to accept that since you changed the definition of what a woman or a man is 15 times in the conversation, that maybe you don't fucking know?
Right.
Mike O'Cunning says, what do I win if my fallacy bingo card is full? You win pride, which is something that I don't have
There usually is
yet.
a little confetti bomb that will go off in the room. If it hasn't happened, you haven't actually gotten fallacy bingo, and you need to re-identify your fallacies.
Do it again.
So I guess we've kind of like gone through, because like this, to me, the number one claim here is like, while technically right, if you look at the context of the person who's saying it and how angry he gets about pronouns in bio, it seems like he's trying to say my positions get framed as oppression and my positions are science, reason, and rationality, and there's a leap happening there. Does that make sense?
Except this is the same error that a eugenicist makes. Not saying Bogosian is a eugenicist. That's not my claim. Before somebody tries to clip that and go, Cyrus! No, this is the same style of argumentation that somebody says when they argue a social science to take the position of like a 1350.
Oh no, race realism falls right into this category.
You're right. When you take a eugenicist or a race realist or anything, and they use scientific data to back up their position, and they say, I'm just saying data. How does data offend you? I'm just saying science. How does science offend you? Well, it's not that science offends me or data offends me. It's the conclusion you're reaching either because of or in spite of the science that is available right now.
Right.
That's...
So, I guess we can move on to number 2.
Go to the next one?
Yeah.
Cool.
How long did we spend on the first one? Granted, it's a foundational premise that he has, but
I don't know because I actually did not turn on the recording for it. So I don't even know how long we've been streaming. Woo!
We've streamed for about 40 minutes. We've spent about 30 minutes on PETA.
Professionalism, everybody.
We're on it. We know what we're doing.
I think you, Jack and Quill says, I think you mean they abuse data. In most cases, yes. If you're a 1350er, then yeah, you abuse data. Like, hands down. Hands down. What sucks is when you grow up and you go to Facebook and you find friends of yours from high school who have fallen down those fucking rabbit holes.
Oh my god, yeah, that's true.
I
stopped reconnecting with people. Because it's every once in a while I'm like, hey, how you been? Oh my god.
That's an interesting Confederate flag your jizz is on. Weird.
Go over. Bye. I don't know if I... So much for all that. Go away.
I've had it happen, like, friends that I've had since I was 3 years old, I've had that happen with, and it sucks. Ironically, though, people who I actually didn't like in high school, who I just had no want to be around, are people who I talk to now more regularly. Because that's what happens, apparently.
Right.
Almost as if I was a conservative fuckbag in high school. Actually, I was. So, that's... I was an Alex Jones fan in high school, so, you know, fuck me, I guess.
That's why you do the impersonation, is that you have a lot of experience.
Are you okay over there, Ocean?
I'm still concerned about people that have fallen down the hole.
I'm afraid that you're falling down a hole, Ocean. I mean...
Number 2.
I mean, if one god is irrational, then how is many?
Oh my fucking...
That dumbass argument.
All right. So,
number
2.
I actually had somebody send me a message. It was a super chat on one of my streams the other day that actually said my channel led them to polytheism.
Really?
I was just like, neat.
Cool.
Like, okay, cool.
So, number 2, focus on equality of outcome at the expense of equality of opportunity.
Now,
here's
here's
the
the
thing
fun...
on this.
Yes, I have a thing on this. So, my thing on this is very clear. Equality of opportunity is a myth. It is a completely fabricated myth. And here's why. The idea that you and I, any you who happens to be in the chat, and I had an equality of opportunity is a lie. Because the opportunities I was afforded in the first 18 years of my life are different than the opportunities you were afforded in the first 18 years of your life. You were in a different socioeconomic status than I was, likely, which meant that you had a different set of schooling than I did, likely, which means that your opportunity for education was different, which means that when you became an adult, your opportunity for jobs was different. Also, whether or not you had generational wealth that led to either being able to go to college or being able to start in a firm as opposed to at a fast food place, that was a different opportunity that you were afforded that I was not afforded. Or I might have had opportunities afforded to me that you weren't able to because I have a white-sounding name. My real name is Chris. It's really easy for me to just put in a job application. I have very rarely not gotten a job after doing an interview. An opportunity that I have due to a couple of things. One, I happen to have been born with a decently symmetric set of features. White skin. I've been given a very white-sounding name, or very basic name. And I went to, while in low-income areas, I managed to go to schools that were decently high level, so I'm fairly articulate. I can rock an actual conversation with a job person, employer. That's the one. These are
really
not
articulate, sir.
Yes, I know. Excellent. 10 out of 10.
He's got all the words.
I have the best words.
Yep.
But, you know, on top of that, there are cases where I, for one, did not have a functional father figure growing up. Some people did have a functional father figure growing up, and that means that they actually have that opportunity that I didn't. So the idea that everybody has an equal opportunity is a bad starting point to begin with. You functionally cannot create equality of opportunity. That's impossible. Region will change things. Gender will change things. Skin color will change things. Money that you've been born into will change things. Socioeconomic class will change things. You don't have equal opportunity. That's a myth.
Okay. I don't have anything to add to that. I think that you pretty much made a lot of the points that I would make on it. And I think that we just agree there. But he's taking, I think that I'll contribute a little bit as far as the communication standpoint, because I know what he's appealing to people with that sentiment, because equality of outcome at the expense of equality of opportunity is like a Fox News talking point kind of thing. There is a subgroup of people that see that and they go affirmation, you know what I mean? I think the point of this stream is demonizing left politics as much as possible, and that using those kind of phrases starts to get you find your confirmation bias audience that make them start clapping with stuff like that,
because they hear that they heard it from Tucker Carlson and they just go, oh yeah, that one. Right. So the thing is
or
that
Hannity was big on this one.
So when you take the juxtaposition for equality of outcome and equality of opportunity, not everybody wants equality of outcome, because what a right-winger thinks of equality of outcome is, I'll quote it like Innuendo Studios said, everybody makes $80 an hour, everybody has perfect health care, and everybody's happy, and everybody's exactly where they want to be, and everybody's got perfect jobs with perfect vacations. That's not necessarily what everybody wants. There are some people who want to be in a job where they have less vacation time. There are people who want to be in a job where they are working 20 hours a week and still able to survive, either because they do not have the energy to actually function for long
that, or
periods
they
of
have
time,
some kind of
or they might have a disability that makes it to where that's about the extent that they can do. If we focus on equality of opportunity only, we ignore all those cases. Every single fringe case, which there are enough fringe cases to where even calling them fringe cases is a fucking misconception. There are enough cases outside of the norm that we can safely say that there's no such fucking thing as an established norm as far as equality of opportunity is concerned, which leaves us with trying to have better outcomes. I would say the equal outcome that should be strived for would be everybody has a livable wage. Everybody has health care. Past that point, people can go higher, but I would say that that's the baseline that we should be trying to push for as far as outcome is concerned. And as far as equality of opportunity is concerned, making that as much of a goal as possible, fine. But accepting that it cannot be a reality, probably a better framing.
So number 3.
Michael Conning in the chat, please put down the bread and back away slowly.
I'm just going to for this one, I'm just letting Cirrus have all the bread he wants. Every once in a while, and I've done this before in streams where I just tell Cirrus, put the bread down, please.
It's funny that I haven't actually read that book yet. I just bought it.
But the bread, it shows up it's like the door keeps knocking in the middle of the stream, and we open the door, and there's a fucking loaf standing there going, Cirrus, pick me up. I want to be involved in the conversation. And Cirrus is like, look, a loaf of bread that loves me. I'm going to pick him up and shove it into the conversation as much as possible.
Conversation? Don't you mean conquest?
Put the bread down.
I should have never started studying economics. That was a mistake.
Red emojis in the chat. Y'all. All right. Anyway, this is getting breadly.
Are you ready for this? Are you hanging on the edge of your yeast?
Oh dear.
So, number 3.
I'm just gonna loaf around until this ends. And
well, I will have to rise to the occasion then.
Oh boy. I had like a healthy outlook on this conversation, but now you're making it turn sourdough.
Oh.
That was bad. I was reaching.
Yeah, that was a reach. That was a reach.
I think I fucking pulled the muscles with that stretch. All right. Anyway.
Okay. Pumpernickel. Number 3.
Just scream pumpernickel. All right. Number 3.
Teach a generation of students that being offended by certain ideas makes them better people. Okay.
Note the asterisks around ideas.
This is a giant straw man. Nobody's being taught that being offended by something makes them a better person. However.
What?
However.
Oh, okay. There's a but.
There's a but.
There's a bootay.
If the idea of 60% of the population starving to death is an okay thing in your mind, and I find that idea vehemently offensive, I would probably argue that actually does make me a better fucking person than you. I'm actually
we don't need to
fairly
bring up
certain
veganism again.
That. Oh no, this is libertarianism.
Okay, got it.
Like, I'm fairly certain that I can comfortably make that call that I am a better person than you in this regard because you do not find the idea of much of the population dying from a preventable cause.
Can I tell you a story?
Sure. I love stories.
This is about ideas and libertarianism. The first time that I absolutely raged at a libertarian was when I care about nature. Okay,
I'd hope
and
so.
Libertarians have this idea about how nature should be taken care of. And they think that if you privatize a bunch of it, people that own that will be of the position that we should take care of it as much as possible. Because the problem with environment is that there's common ownership of things like the ocean. And that people just dump shit in the ocean because nobody owns it, and therefore nobody cares whether or not it's clean. So it becomes this giant trash can.
So you don't think that a private business with financial incentives in cheap waste disposal would not just dump more?
Shush, stop making sense. Now, so the solution that the libertarian was putting forward was to say we should, like land ownership, carve up the oceans in plots and people can buy them. And then people will own different parts of the ocean and they can fish or swim or whatever the fuck it is they want to do with it to their fucking heart's content, right? And my counterpoint to this was, well, how would these borders be determined, and could people just change them? And he was just like, well, yes, of course they would be able to change them. They can do whatever they want. They wouldn't be determined by anything necessarily other than what the agency of the person who's buying it would have. And I was like, okay, so what if I bought a strip of ocean along a whale migration path and started a whaling company that basically just killed 100% of the whales that I came across? And his idea of this was, oh yeah, that'd be fine. You would be within your rights to do that, but you'd probably get bad reviews.
Walmart gets bad reviews, and they get surplus fucking value all the time. What?
And his idea was like, no, this is good. This is good. And the conversation ensued that eventually got to the point where I told him to fuck off in an elevated voice.
Like the position, the weird thing about libertarian, it's why we've actually got a video that's being planned about libertarianism. It is, I say being planned because it's not even hit the planning stages. We've just had the conversation that we're going to do it.
Oh yeah, this is no, okay, I remember this.
Were you like, wait, are we?
I was like, what? Oh yeah.
But the conversation basically boils down to this. The weird thing about libertarianism is that it functionally has to ignore consequentialism at all times. Every form of it, no matter what. Because the idea... I actually know it. Better yet, I will just quote Christopher Hitchens on this.
Uh-oh.
Libertarianism is a funny idea. It's the idea that Americans should axiomatically be even more selfish.
I don't like Hitchens very much, but that's a good quote.
Like,
no, I'm going to commit the genetic fallacy and say it's stupid.
Well, I'm glad you're committing the genetic fallacy. Because as it turns out, we have a eugenicist here who wants to talk about your genes. You can't actually... it's a joke. It's a joke.
Oh, it's a joke?
It's a joke about the AFA, dude. It's fine.
Oh, right. That's right.
That's a conversation as well.
That's the whole thing. You remember the screenshots I sent you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. That directly countered the point that was being made.
Just go ahead and secure they just want to secure an existence for the people who look like them. That's all they want to do, Ocean, right?
Is that racist?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Anyway. Number 4. Decolonize curricula by switching from robust epistemologies, scientific method, just going to break a little bit, to radically subjective ones, autoethnography. Simultaneously claim that
we need
anyone
Cal in here for that term
who has a problem with this isn't merely mistaken, but is a terrible person. This is so wrong in every fucking way.
So, I want to share a story because I know where Cyrus is going to go.
Is this going to involve me editing?
Yes, it's going to involve you editing my work because I was an idiot. Now, I did a video recently on pagan epistemology, essentially, and
the UPG video
called Pagan Skepticism. It's about UPG, SPG, and VPG. If you're interested in looking at how pagans skeptically examine personal experience claims, check out that video. It's interesting. But I talked about epistemology in that video, and I mentioned that a popular epistemology that is defended is the scientific method in that script. And then I sent it to Cyrus. And Cyrus sent back a series of capital letters, basically informing me that science was in fact not an epistemology, but a method of determining likelihood. And I was like, duh, because I'd actually had a conversation with a friend of mine who's a scientist that was about how, they pointed out, like, look, science is just a series of correlations. It's not.
It doesn't determine truth.
It doesn't create accessibility to truth, right? It's a series of correlations that we then use to try and determine some sort of likelihood about what is possibly true. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, I'm on the page. I'm on your page about that because the person I was talking to gets annoyed with the atheist rhetoric of like, if it's not science, then I won't believe it. And their position was, okay, well, if it's science, it's got decent backing, but it doesn't mean that you should therefore believe it necessarily. It's just that there's a series of correlations here that we're exploring, and here you are. She wasn't saying they weren't saying like you shouldn't believe it necessarily, but they were saying like it isn't de facto true because science backs it. And that was the whole rant that they went on. And your correction agreed with that, and I was like, all right, well, yeah, okay, I've heard this before. So I wound up looking a little bit more into it and then eventually correcting my script, much to Cyrus's chagrin. So anyway, yeah. But here, Bogosian,
I think I actually have like freaking
a philosopher,
five paragraphs on your script.
No, it was long. It was fucking long.
You asked me to poke holes in it, so I did. But yeah, no,
so,
Bogosian, the philosopher,
the philosopher,
not
of epistemology,
understanding what
on epistemology that get me frustrated because street epistemology isn't an epistemology.
leave it to the street epistemologist to not understand what an epistemology is.
Yeah.
Just 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Also, again, category error. So you can't use the scientific method to determine something.
One at the door.
The scientific method is not going to help you determine something. If we're dealing with the nuances of society, you're not going to be able to use the scientific method to determine everything there, because when it comes to being able to replicate data, humans are in and of themselves monkey wrenches. You can use the scientific method on our biology. You can use the scientific method on any series of stagnant things that are going to function. But when you try to use it for social groups, you're going to find that those social groups change day to day. And replicatability is a very important thing to the scientific method. It categorically does not work in areas that something like sociology deals with, because the way that it determines likelihood doesn't function very well over there. It categorically doesn't. And that's fine. It's not supposed to.
Right.
Like science is not going to tell you as much about the individual things going on in somebody's brain as far as like thoughts are concerned, but they can tell you about the synapses, how the memory's functioning, like the individual pieces. It's the difference between a psychiatrist and a therapist.
So, yeah, okay, but switching from epistemologies to radically subjective ones, simultaneously claim that anyone who has a problem with this isn't merely mistaken, but is a terrible person. What do you think about there's more there, right,
yes,
in this statement, rather than beyond him getting that science is epistemology wrong as a philosopher and the founder of street epistemology.
So
this guy has also said faith is a virus. Like he makes a lot of disingenuous arguments generally, but radically subjective ones, autoethnography. I am not familiar with that term. And then simultaneously the claim that anyone who has a problem with this is not merely mistaken, but is a terrible person. There's another thing going on there. Go for it, Cyrus. I know you got
so the idea that this is basically somebody arguing hard science versus soft science. When somebody only uses hard science and only hard science and then tries to argue against you being trans, as an example.
Right. There's a straw man happening here.
Yes.
Isn't there?
That's basically what we're looking at, because because the determination of gender happens sociologically.
Right.
So when you commit this category error, you're straw manning the person.
Point that out. Suddenly, you're replacing science with sociological studies, and
which is not what's happening. It's pointing
right.
out that these are two categories that deal with two separate things. It's like we don't use science to try to determine morality. It doesn't do that.
So I wound up having this conversation with I wound up meeting one of the scientists that was involved in the fabled rationality rules video, and I was talking to her about what the gender versus sex thing with respect to, like, because I asked this person, like, what determines sex, and they responded it was essentially gamete size, and I was like, well, I can't tell what your gamete size is when I meet you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're making those determinations with respect to gender based off of social conditioning, essentially. So it becomes a sociological conversation. And that when someone says that, the social understanding of gender is distinct from the biological understanding of gender, or biological understanding of sex necessarily. It's because the observations are different, the methods are different, and all that kind of stuff, but they're still both happening with humans. And that what makes sports so interesting is that it is a social event in which biology has a huge factor at play, so that you have this conversation that's happening. But the person I was talking to wound up going like, oh, I didn't actually realize that this was the crux of the conversation. Thought it was just a science conversation, and learned over the course of that conversation that no, it wasn't. It's actually a lot more at play, and just didn't realize that. But yo, what's up?
I received a fan art on Twitter, and I'm trying.
You're trying to move it?
I'm trying to move it, but images don't move from Twitter very easily. What? Why? Hold on. Do. Let's go stream. Aha! Boom. There we go. Finally. Finally, we've done it. We've moved it over. Is it actually gonna... Aha! There it is. I have it now. I can do the thing. I'm so sorry, everyone. Boom. There we go. Fan art was submitted. It is, hey guys, let's be critical of actual capitalism. And somebody yelling at me, no, Cyrus, please put down the bread. It's too late.
I wonder who
for
was
bread.
yelling that.
It's too late for bread. Okay, that has been submitted.
Where are we?
There.
Okay.
Cool. We're back here.
So, let's see. Teach a gender, decolonize. So yeah, there is a straw man happening here, because nobody, like, people that I know that are, like, even with
actually
the
in the fields that matter.
Right. Is people that are frustrated with how that whole conversation went, and with the, talking about gender and how it should be recognized in conversations that have social contexts, aren't trying to say that science isn't a thing. No, and in having these conversations with people, no one's doing that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
and
it's a giant straw man of what people are actually doing.
Right. So it's like, no, I'm not saying science doesn't exist. Fuck. I'm saying this, and that this is the authority on this part of the conversation. I'm like, yeah, okay, well, that's fucking reasonable. What's the problem? And then there's this accusation that there's actually this bait and switch happening that isn't at play. It's annoying.
Also, I just want to go ahead and throw out the little dog whistly thing there about decolonizing curricula.
Oh right, that's the last that's meant
part.
To derive. Yeah,
that's meant to
or
say
deride,
that
rather.
Yeah, that's meant to obfuscate the entire conversation here, because then you get people going, oh well, actually, decolonization must not be that. Must be bogus. Must be a bad idea. There's things you can decolonize. Like, let's take history textbooks. Decolonizing a history textbook would be getting rid of a lot of mythology around, like, Christopher Columbus, stuff like that. Like, that's decolonization of a system. That's not necessarily what's going on here where science is concerned. But straw men are straw men, and they burn. Apparently.
Fire.
All right.
So next one, I guess.
Next one.
I think we're only going to have time to go through this. We're not going to have time to go through the subject you wanted to bring in.
Yep.
Because we wound up just sitting on PETA forever.
To be fair, PETA sits on PETA forever. I don't know what that was even supposed to mean.
I don't know what you meant by that.
I don't either, actually, as it turns out. But number 5, sanction and shame people who have conversations across political and moral divides. Guilt by association is a particularly good enforcement mechanism. This is accusing anybody who argues against something, or who argues for things like deplatforming, as shunning in, like, the Jehovah's Witness religion sense. I have a huge problem with this framing, because usually somebody's not going to people who I know who have huge issues with me have mutual friends with me, and generally speaking, it is not the friendship or the association that is considered the problem. Generally, it is the platforming that is considered the problem. Generally, it is the giving aid to or otherwise promoting someone that's seen as the problem. That steps outside of the realm of association.
Right, you're talking about, like, say, when a college holds a speech from Shapiro or something like that, when it's pretty, like, markedly obvious that there's dishonest conversations coming from this person.
Yes.
And
or
this is somebody who gets their kicks on shitting on college students that try and debate them. You know
MythCon platforming Milo in Yiannopoulos.
Right.
Like, that's where you have the conversation about, well, there's a thing called responsible use of platform, and it is scoped differently than responsible use of association. Association is generally viewed much less critically than usage of platform.
Right. It's like, so there's another straw man happening here.
Yes.
God damn it, Bogosian.
That's like
Bogosian.
Like, if he wants to argue that, well, no, it's just the association I have a problem with. Okay, cool. That doesn't happen all that often.
Right.
Or you ask, well, do you have some examples of this? And usually,
it's like fringe.
Those examples are either going to be fringe or actually examples of deplatforming, which is, again, categorically different, which, again, makes it a straw man.
It's weird that these people that are all about free market are against deplatforming.
Yeah, considering that deplatforming is
isn't
literally
that essentially
a free
the bad review thing? Like, isn't that...
You got bad reviews, so you were
right.
I'm actually curious as to what a hardcore libertarian would think about the deplatforming of Stephen Molyneux.
Yeah.
Do they think that his eggs bore enough fruit?
Where's Michael Moreno? Moreno! However you pronounce your name. I want to talk to you.
But I think we can actually get to the next point now, because I think it's essentially just a straw man on number 5. Number 6 is promote cultural, moral, and epistemological relativism. In other words, advance the notion that there's no way to make independent judgments about cultural practices, moral codes, and ways of knowing. Those are not the same thing. You can have moral relativism and still be able to independently judge. This is a Christian argument.
This is a philosopher. Why is he saying this? Unless he knows what his audience is and he's taking advantage of his audience. This is the kind of thing where it's like, if you have a passing understanding of moral philosophy, you know this kind of fucking comment is bullshit, because there is so much like cross hitching happening over that comment. It's like, Peter, you know better.
Or
you'd know that he knows better. So the fact that he knows better and he's saying that.
Ocean, right? I have some bad news for you.
What?
Fan art of you was just dropped into the Discord.
Oh no. I'm waiting to be updated on my end.
Okay.
I'm gonna click the live button. Yep. And of course.
Go ahead.
Oh my god.
Do it, Ocean.
Oh my god.
Yep. You've just been Rule 63 catgirled. This now has to be your profile picture on Twitter.
It does. Where is that? Is that on?
That's in my fan art section.
It's in your fan art section on Discord.
As you do.
Hold on a second. Let me find this. Who did that? Is that who I think it was?
That's Jack and Quill.
Yep.
That gets a nya out of 10 for me.
That gets a nya out of 10. Fuck. I always have trouble finding the fan art in your goddamn server. Where is it? It's an adult discussion videos fan art safe for work?
It's in the admin section only because it needed to be at the very top so that people could actually fucking find it. Counterintuitively, it has made it impossible for you to find.
Yeah, there we go. I'm just sitting here like, where the fuck is it? There's no way it's at the top.
That's where it is. That's where it be.
So I'm going to put that on my pewter. And then
so,
I'm going to update it right now. That's my fucking profile.
So I think we can just settle on number 6 as just being a gross misunderstanding of moral relativism.
Yeah.
And epistemology.
Right.
Epistemological relativism.
In other words, advance the notion that there's no way to make independent judgments in cultural practices, moral codes. Like,
even through epistemological...
It doesn't mean you can't... Like, you can have an talk to cosmic skeptic. You can have objective morality that is still relative.
Yes. Even divine command theory falls under this. It is an objective moral framework that
is an objective moral framework
that is nested in relativism.
Right.
Like this is basic stuff. This
because,
is like
for anybody that needs the answer on that. The nested in relativism is that the morality that is objective is still relative on the opinion of the deity. So divine command theory can be a number of things, but what the moral commands are is relative to the deity making the command. So if your divine command theory is centered around Satan, your moral objective framework or objective moral framework is going to be different than if it is nested in a different god. This is one of the reasons why looking at divine command theory as a polytheist is hilarious. But even with Christianity, there are multiple images of God. So in your divine command theory, which image of the Christian God are you nesting your morality in? And now it is relative to that. And then furthermore, it is relative on the whims of that deity at the end of the day, because God can change morality. At least it is possible. The fucker's omnipotent. So, and is omnibenevolent, but because it is within his nature to be good, so goodness is whatever his nature is, so the whims are perfectly available to happen. It is relative and objective at the same time. But it becomes very difficult to know things about it. But anyway, I'm gonna upload this picture now.
Okay, I think we can move on to number 7 then. Now that we've gotten to the point, now that we got the foundation out of the way that a lot of these are straw men, they're going by quicker.
Yeah.
Number 7, create and legally enforce blasphemy laws. This will be most effective if certain ideas are made sacred and thus immune from criticism. Bonus, equate criticism of ideas with criticisms of immutable properties of people.
I didn't read that because I was trying to get Twitter to upload the fucking thing.
Well, if anybody didn't read the transphobia into the immutable properties of people part.
Uh-oh. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Create and legally embrace blasphemy laws. Oh, no, fuck.
Just... If you didn't read that...
Yeah, it's there plain as day, isn't it?
Also,
go ahead and expand on that while I fix Twitter.
So this is probably, more than likely, in response to the Bill C-16 controversy that happened in Canada.
That's right. You ranted at me about this.
Now, and that's because Bill C-16 put gender in a protected category of class, just like race, just like other immutable characteristics of people. Now, here's the funny thing. Logic actually did a wonderful series of videos about Bill C-16, debunking all of the dumbass arguments that Bill C-16, as per Jordan Peterson's position, would lead to sacking of professors and all this other fun shit. None of that power was granted to fucking Bill C-16. None of it. It literally just said gender's a protected category. If just as you cannot set as a college professor, black kid comes into your auditorium and you are having your lecture, you can't just say, "Oh, hello, my N-word." That's not a thing that you do. This same thing with gender. Abby comes in and says, "Hello, I am a female. I am she, her." You do not say, "Yeah, that's all right, Tim." You don't do that. That's all that did. Which, really, functionally, all that means is don't be a fucking asshole. Not hard. Not difficult.
That's incredibly hard, Cirrus.
But
God,
yeah,
I
no.
don't know how fucking difficult it is to not be a fucking asshole.
The legally enforceable blasphemy laws bit just to me reeks of this is Bill C-16 shit. I'm sorry, no. No. That wasn't the shit that was going on back then. That's not the shit that's going on now. Holy fuck. Stop it.
Skip it.
Do you have anything to say about that, Ocean, before we go to number 8?
I just agree with you on that one.
Ocean, so for context, when Ocean sent me the tweet from Peter Bogosian, he got no less than 12 voice messages from me.
I was like, hey, Cirrus, I'm going to send this to you right before Hammered Out. And Cirrus was like, I have like this idea that I want to discuss on Hammered Out, and I really want to go into it with you, and I think it would be really cool to bounce ideas off of each other. And I was like, Cirrus, look at this tweet thread. And then I got the series. I looked at my phone later and had 12 notifications from Cirrus. I was like, okay, all right, well.
That just changed things a little bit.
And then I said, hey, Cirrus, we should talk about this on Hammered Out. Guess what happened?
So here we are. Okay, so number 8, advance the narrative that what people can know is limited to exogenous immutable characteristics like skin color or gender. So I want to agree with this point because on the surface, it's actually an argument against a bunch of Nazi arguments that I've seen before. Arguments about phrenology, for instance, fall into the category of immutable characteristics like skin color or gender that determine what you can or can't know. The idea that black people are not as smart as white people because bell curve theory falls into this. Like, all of that falls into this category. And I want to agree with this because of that. But because I know who it is, it sounds like a critique of feminist standpoint theory. And that makes it sound a lot more disingenuous. Because there are certain
I'm actually
things.
not sure what standpoint theory is.
Standpoint theory is basically the idea that, think of it like epistemology a little bit, where from your position, from your standpoint, certain things are a different way. As an example, Bugs Bunny. A feminist standpoint analysis of Bugs Bunny would ask a few questions. One, well, why is he wearing gloves and only gloves? Well, because he's a guy. Okay, well, why is he only wearing gloves and not covering his nether regions? When you look at a character like Lola Bunny, who does have to cover these things, through feminist standpoint theory, you come to the conclusion that, oh, that's because in classical animation, male characters were considered the norm and therefore the neutral. It's a lot like how liberalism became the middle of the Overton window.
What about Thumper's girlfriend, though?
Thumper's girlfriend?
Yeah, Bambi.
None of the animals are clothed in Bambi.
Yeah, right. It's fucking degenerate.
God damn. However, for an actual long list of things that go into feminist standpoint theory, I've only done a very surface level study where that's concerned, so I couldn't really get into it much outside of it. It requires a lot of looking at things from consider yourself the second or third wave feminist and analyze this media or analyze this particular notion that's considered the norm in your society. Why is that considered the norm, and why is it generally very male-centric? Or at least tailored to males in some way, which is generally the case.
I'm seeing in the chat. Put?
Why are they saying put the bread down for this one? This isn't even a bread thing. Why though? But Jack and Quill has released a new fan art in there, which is me not putting the bread down.
I love how the bread is saying, I love you.
I love you. Conquest for me, please. I love you.
No. No. Jack and Quill, what happened? You're supposed to be on my side here.
You think Jack and Quill has a side?
No, I don't.
I've met Jack and Quill. There is no side. There is only a front and a back. That's it. What kind of bread is it? It's honey wheat. It's honey wheat. So I'm torn on this particular one because I want to agree with it. I really do. On a surface, it is so intuitively reasonable. I just feel like I know better.
You're talking about number 8, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You're looking at it a little bit deeper than I am. I'm looking at it, and I'll just tell you my first analysis of it was, this is Greek. I don't understand anything. Bar. Shout out to Aaliyah.
You're a barbarian.
Yeah, exactly. I just Also, my avatar has now been changed on Twitter.
Perfect.
I am now a Neko cat girl.
Ooh,
Neko Ocean. Yeah, ooh, indeed. Ilya Kai.
Bar.
So then you get into the last two, which you had giant disagreements with, Cirrus, if I recall.
The last two were really simple. 9, deny people healthcare based on their income. I can't disagree with that one. That it's bad to deny people healthcare based on their income.
Cirrus thinks you should deny people the. Oh, never mind. Okay.
Now there is an interesting framing here, though. What do we classify as denial?
Oh no.
Because denial of healthcare based on income.
I see the bread coming out from behind the corner.
It's coming out like.
Hello there. It's like
General Bredobi.
Hi, Cirrus. I'm a loaf of bread. You want to pick me up and insert me into the conversation, right? Hi, Cirrus. We'll reform things together.
Reform.
We'll seize the means of production.
Reform.
No, not reform.
I don't think.
But that's no, Cirrus. You don't understand. We're gonna say reform together. But what we really mean is absolutely and utterly destroy the system. We just don't need to tell anybody else about it. Hi, Cirrus.
He just got $5.
We're gonna just loaf together.
From Israelis Greenfell. Have small money. Thank you for small money.
Thank you for small money indeed. Bread.
You okay, Ocean? You alright over there?
Bread.
I'm just gonna fucking have a
Please explain to the audience what denial is, Cirrus.
What?
What is denial of service, Cirrus?
So on the one hand, there could be the interpretation of denial as, well, nobody's denied based on their income. No matter what your medium income is, you're allowed to go get healthcare. You just have to be able to afford it.
Yeah, there you go. But that's on the basis of income.
That's denial on the basis of income. I don't have the means to get healthcare.
So here's a question. Is Peter Bogosian voting for Bernie Sanders as a write-in candidate?
I feel as though if he were, I would have a few issues. For one, that's a very inconsistent position to take based on everything else he's shown in here.
I know, right?
For two,
he's a universal healthcare guy. Just randomly.
I'm a pragmatist. I have to take the vote of harm reduction, and the write-in vote for Bernie is not the vote of harm reduction, which sucks. It sucks. Anyway. I want to be the idealized person that just goes, the correct vote is the one that's in my heart. Yeah, yes. That's, while true, my heart is going,
you vote
to save America.
For the candidate that you most agree with, Cirrus.
Yeah? You okay, Ocean? Do you need help?
I'm just crying.
I'm aiming this at you.
Why?
Because I need to... I'm not going to say the words that were about to come out of my mouth because I know my chat. I was going to say I'm going to squirt you, and then I realized, oh wait a minute, no, that's a bad.
And then you went ahead and said it.
Yeah,
didn't
well,
you?
I went ahead and said it afterwards.
You went ahead. You just because honestly, because you know your chat. Because if you say I didn't say something because I know my chat, they're gonna put whale sex in the fucking fan art. So
whales.
And it will be like whale, whale, whale. We have
got a $5 super chat from Lee Bryan. Do you think that male privilege is the equivalent of original sin to TERFs? They think trans women have the original sin of male privilege.
Oh gods,
that's terribly consistent, actually.
Wow. The thing is that I think I've seen them make that argument.
I think that's the argument about invading women's spaces.
No,
exactly.
that was I think I was having a conversation with somebody else where there was a conversation that was just like there seems to be this argument. It was I think I was having this conversation with Comrade actually. That there's this post. There's this very turfy person that was basically saying that
here's some syrup for the bread.
That trans women haven't earned the right to be women or something like that. And I was like, what is there, a fucking obstacle course? Like, what is the...
They didn't pass the gear check, Ocean.
Right. And then it came up, it was like something about like having kids or some shit. And I was just like, that's...
What?
Yeah.
That's like Mike Winger's argument.
It was a bad argument. It was a bad... Yeah, it is a Mike Winger kind of thing. But, like, I'm not saying that it was a good argument. I'm saying it's terrible.
The final one.
Hey, why are we muting Jack and Quill?
Wait, why is Jack and Quill muted? Pikachu, did you do a thing?
Sorry about the whale sex.
There's nothing.
No.
What?
We gotta let Jack and Quill. No, Jack and Quill's chill, y'all. Come on, mods.
Wait, what's going on?
I'm not sure what's going on down there.
Oh, Pikachu didn't. Oh no. Pikachu made a mistake. Jack and Quill got put in the corner on accident. I think Jack and Quill was trying to moderate C, and Pikachu was trying to moderate C and accidentally hit Jack and Quill. Yep, that's exactly what happened.
I see what's happening. Yep, okay.
Jack, I'm so sorry you're in the corner now.
Okay. No, I see what happened. All right, I was like, wait a minute, what? And then people were like, oh, you said this thing. And I'm like, oh, God, I hope it's not.
I was about to ask if Jack got feisty.
Cool,
nah.
We're chill.
So we got one last one before shows end. One last one.
Yeah, so deny people healthcare on the basis of income. Cirrus agrees with that position. I disagree. I'm a universal healthcare guy. Cirrus is a dirty capitalist. And moving on. So... Cirrus's bread is now offended, y'all.
Ocean, I will end
number
you.
10. Number 10, Cirrus.
Yeah, and
what's
this
number
top
10
list? Do not provide public education of the first rate for every citizen. Yeah, you do need. So this one, I actually do agree with him with, and I don't think there's any subtext to it that's like harmful, because this just sounds like the argument against creationists when they.
I think he's just talking like a professor here. But. Like, he's values education. He wants people to be educated, and the thing that Bogosian and I might agree on, but I think it would hurt him, is if people were taught rhetoric and philosophy in school.
I think everybody should at least take 1 year of informal logic.
Yeah,
at least. It's
like it should be a class that's like collected with all this stuff in middle school or something like that. You just get thrown in there, wrapped up with your core.
And then algorithms and flowcharts should be a thing that everybody learns, because that teaches you basic logic.
Well, you're supposed to learn charts in
informal. Well, yeah, because you have to build. I'm
talking about you're supposed to learn. You're supposed to learn that in geometry. Proofs and all that kind of shit, but you don't.
Yeah, but that's not the same thing.
Yeah.
So I took a geometry course, and I took a course in is a class called AOIT, Academy of Information Technology, and in learning C++, we had to take a sub course called flowcharting. which was
Right.
how to create an algorithm, because you had to flowchart what you wanted the program to do in an algorithm before you could insert it into before you could code it. And the way a program works is a program cannot assume anything. It makes no assumptions whenever you're building it. So you have to give it all the data. The exact thing we were given in the beginning of the course was flowchart how to tie your shoes. You make no assumptions. So this person doesn't know what a shoelace is. They do not know what a shoe is. They do not know why they need to tie it. They just need to know how to tie it. So you have to get everything from like insert the shoe in or insert the foot into the shoe, make sure that everything is laced up properly, define a lace. Like you have to do everything from the base up. And that's how we were taught how to flowchart. That is functionally identical to what you do when you construct a syllogism, because a syllogism has to do very similar things. Make no assumptions, don't put your cart before your horse, all that other fun shit. It's the same process.
There's a horse.
And it's amazing. Give it a lick. It tastes just like raisins.
You're doing me a heckin' concern, Cirrus.
Have you never heard that song?
No.
Ocean.
Is this like the pizza in a box?
Kind of.
God damn it.
Like, Ocean. I'm sending you a thing, and you have to listen to it right now.
Now.
Because everybody is going to be listening to it here in a second.
Oh no. All right. What is this?
It's fine.
Look at my horse is amazing. Give it a lick.
It tastes just like raisins.
Have a stroke of its mane, it turns into a plane, and then it turns back again when you...
That's as much as I'm going to play. I don't want to get copyright struck. Ocean, are you okay?
What am I watching?
I better not tell you where the lemonade is made. Sweet lemonade. Ah. Ocean, I think you've seen enough. I think you're good. You can, you can stop. You've never been subjected to this, have you? Ocean.exe has stopped working.
It's catchy as fuck.
It is. It is. The bread is the friends we made along the way. Okay, Ocean.
I gotta see this whole thing. It's very repetitive, but I keep every time it repeats the chorus, I'm like,
It's like a car crash. It's terrible, but you can't look away. The fucking face. The face Ocean makes as he's watching this for the first time in his life. This is old internet shit, by the way.
I know. I'm looking at it. It's like, this is 2012. Why didn't I see this?
Yeah, this is old.
Oh, there's a 10-hour cut.
Yeah, there is.
God damn, of course there is.
You okay, Ocean? Holy Spackle says, play him the Badger song next.
No, I've seen the Badger song.
It's same artist. It's the same artist.
Oh, okay. All right.
We have one last one to get to, Ocean.
We do.
It's just
we do.
Well, actually, no, we don't. It's just the public education one. That's it.
We already did that.
That's it.
Public education is good.
Hammer
The
out,
end.
everybody.
Yeah, cool. We can agree on that. Bogosian,
did
we
it.
found common ground. Maybe you can fuck off about the rest of it.
That said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the like button, maybe, if you did.
What did I just watch?
Look, sometimes
You've
Ocean,
totally
you meet,
put me in the weirdest headspace by seeing this this horse get licked like raisin and then discussing where the sweet lemonade comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I am doing a heckin' concern.
Do you want to see the universe, Ocean?
L-
Then get
no.
on the horse.
Not. I. Hammered out. That's it.
Thank you all for watching.
We're signing off. What the hell was this? Thank you guys for watching. I don't know how you got through it, but we managed to.
I have traumatized
I'm
you.
sorry. I'm sorry.